Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tent of Abraham. I'm Tamir Kreisman from Israel. This is Parashat D'varim, the affairs, the things, the stuff. Deuteronomy 1:1 to 3:22. And this one is called Follow Through. These are the words which Moses spoke to all Israel on that side of the Jordan, in the desert, in the plain, opposite the Red Sea, between Paran and Tophel and Lavan and Chatzerot, and Dai Zahav. Now, last year, check out, we did pretty much the whole teaching on this verse, what happened, what's going on, feel free. This year, here we go again at the book to close it all. This is one of the, of course, this book is very dear to me since it's Moses' personal account of all the things that had transpired from his point of view. Through his words, we can have a better understanding through his eye, which although it's a much higher level than our eye, right? Nevertheless, it's still closer to us than God's eyes, so to speak. Now, even though this was Moses' personal account, and don't think for 1 second that they were not divinely inspired words that have been sanctioned, sanctified, and approved by God himself. It's not just his personal side note diary. How do we know this? Because it's the book of Deuteronomy. D'varim, the fifth out of the 5 books of Moses, which completes the perfect Torah of God. So even his personal account was perfect. Every single word here is prophecy, and every single word here is for our benefit. The sage is going to say again, Moses spoke now like a prophet does to Israel. In other words, Moses had a very different role. He does here now as well, but right now it's on a slightly lower level as a prophet speaks. So how does a prophet speak? Because again, Moses was the prophet, right? Lo kam navi kemoshe. No other prophet in the world like Moses. What does a prophet say? A prophet says of the things that he sees and of the things that are to be, right? So pay attention because this is going to be the theme over here. This man Moses, as we discussed, had the hardest life out of anyone else in the Tanakh. He carried the biggest burden for the longest amount of time. He did things that no other man has ever, could ever, or would ever do. And still, after all these years of coming at him, challenging him, fighting him, questioning him, complaining to him, he still comes at the end of his days and delivers a message of love, of correction, and hope to the children of Israel. And that message is, listen up, follow through. When the people realized that there were 5 weeks left to his life, exactly 5 weeks, there is no more resistance, there is no more questioning. They're silent, they're listening. He's rebuking them, they're listening. Shh, bring it on, because they realize this is the end. The reality at the time of the wilderness was so much different than what we can even begin to comprehend. They were all on such high levels of awareness, not just Moses. Moses was, it's like if Moses was the Coca-Cola, the rest of Israel would be what? Like RC Cola, right? Not even Pepsi, okay? Again, one of the top 3 brands in the world, but there's Coke, and then there's like Pepsi, and then there's like RC, okay? Nevertheless, you get what I'm saying. They still have RC Cola? Anyway. So they were all on such high levels of awareness, but of prophecy and comprehension. As a result, they believed that they might have been equal to Moses, or maybe not equal to Moses, though some of them wanted that, like Korach. What gave Korach his confidence was because he had prophecy, he saw the future, he saw that his descendant would be the great prophet Samuel, the anointer of kings. And that's what he saw. He's like, hey, wait a minute. So I got this great lineage. I must be a great guy. So that's right. Even Korach was a prophet as well as many other children of Israel. In fact, most of them were. They didn't eat normal food unless they begged God for it because the lechem haklokal, this spoiled bread from heaven, wasn't good enough for them. They ate heavenly food that manifested from spiritual into physical, only to feed them. This is the same food that sustains angels. They had miracle after miracle done for them on a daily basis, all the time, their entire existence. The midbar, that wilderness, was designed to kill you within an hour. And they had to break the 4 klipot. We're not even talk about that, but they're 4 klipot. Klipot are shells, basically, that you have to break through in order to get to the... That's why you can only break it from the inside out, the poretz, right? He who breaks through, breaks free, and so on and so forth. Anyway, they were unaffected by these elements or principalities and powers that governed the rest of the world. They vanquished enemies who were much larger and greater than they. But what they forgot all throughout these 40 years is that they themselves did nothing to merit all this favor from the Master of the universe, except for the fact that they are the children of Israel, i.e. Jacob. God gave his word to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, as we have already read throughout their journeys, which we can see again in verse 8. So let's read that. See, I have set the land before you. Come and possess the land which the Lord swore to your forefathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them and their descendants after them. That's you guys. Let's go over the Hebrew so we can ask the right questions here. Re'eh natati. See, or behold. I have given a gift. The word natati comes from natan, also comes from the word matana, a gift, a present. Matana leyom huledet, a gift, a present for your birthday. Behold, I have given you the land as a gift. Now, how many times does it say the land? It says twice, right, in the verse. Natati lifnechem et haaretz, bo ureshu et haaretz. Behold, I have given you the land as a gift. Come and possess or inherit the land. Now, why does one need to possess or fight, because that's what it would entail, or fight for anything, if it has already been given as a gift? Hey, I got this for you, now fight for it, It doesn't exactly work like that, or does it? Furthermore, Asher nishba Hashem la'avotechem la'Avraham li'Yitzchak le'Yaakov latet lahem, that the Lord swore to your forefathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to give to them. Did they possess the land? Did Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob possess the land? The answer is no, they did not possess the land. They dwelled in the land. They were sojourners in the land. We could see this in Tehillim. They lived there very, very well in the land, but did they actually possess the entirety of the land? No, they did not. Absolutely not. Ulezar'am achareihem, to their descendants after them. So, in the simple text, what started with the patriarchs and God swearing to them must be completed with the children of Israel possessing the land. From the patriarchs to Yetziat Mitzrayim, the generation that left Egypt, to the generation that would enter into Israel. If this does not happen, that would make God a liar, and he is no man that he should lie. So, what was the gift? The land or the promise of the land? Truth is, there's no difference. If God says so, not only is it done, but it will be done, and it already has been done as far as we're concerned. It's already done. It's already been there. It's written. It's there. Now, why does it say the land, haaretz, twice? Natati lifnechem et haaretz, behold, I have given you the land as a gift, and bo ureshu et haaretz, behold, I have given you, and come and possess, inherit the land, bo ureshu et haaretz. According to Rabbi Vali, who we're going to get into over the next few weeks, because the dude's awesome. The first one is a hint of the Shekhinah, the glory of God, that the land is in fact, or has already been in fact, given to them. Only this land is in the heavens, while the other land is the one that must be possessed in the physical. As we know, there is an upper and lower everything, terrestrial and celestial. We've been learning about this the past year. While terrestrial Jerusalem is Jerusalem, celestial Jerusalem is called Zion, Tzion. Okay? Now, the ultimate goal is for Zion, for Tzion, to unite with Jerusalem. Okay, this is called the New Jerusalem. This is also like Zeir Anpin, which is the sun. Where's my guy? Oh, here we go. Zeir Anpin. This is likened to the sun connecting with Malchut, with the moon. Okay, with the kingdom. This is the moon. Now, the ultimate goal is to fully and completely unite the two. Right? We said we are down here. This, without the connection of Yesod, we are severed from sun, from light, from Torah, and we are living in moon, and also known as darkness. Darkness when it's detached from everything. This is why the world looks today the way it is, because it's pretty much detached from the Word of God. Now, if something is set up there, it must be perfectly stationed and executed down here. Down here is what activates the up there. The land had already been given. The promises had been made. But wait, it's never that simple now, is it? Or is it? You yourselves have to work for what was given to you in order that you be able to handle it. What is this? This is like a father, really savvy businessman who's been working his whole life, and he's got a son, and he wants to leave his business empire, which he built from the ground up, to his son. In order for the son to not run the business into the ground, he has to learn the business from the ground up. He's got to go through the same thing that his dad went through. His dad's got to teach him the foundations. Who does what, where, and how. A CEO of a company, a good CEO of a company, especially if it's the owner and founder of the company, knows every single person's name in the company. Has to know how to do everything in the company, at least on a very basic level. Not just on okay, you do this and you do that. It doesn't work that way. Right? Every general in the army was once a foot soldier. Went through basic. Slept in the dirt. And you get it. Okay. So, a wise father isn't just going to hand his son everything without understanding how it operates. Now, this is for the son's own benefit. And even more so than the life of the business. Also, in our case, they are one and the same, though. Okay? And to our case, this is God saying to his firstborn son, Israel, listen, your name is on the deed. It's yours. Okay? It's in the title. It's all yours. This is yours. But you need to be able to manage it in order for it to serve you. See how that works? How is a father going to help his son by giving him a business empire only for him to run it into the ground? Thereby he's going to get nothing from it, right? Okay, so you get that. What was the last thing that was said in the end of Sefer Bamidbar, in the book of Numbers, i.e. once you have all completed the wilderness? Okay, we read it last week when the candle came down. Don't worry, no candles were harmed in the making of that video. Numbers 36:13. These are the commandments and the ordinances that the Lord commanded the children of Israel through Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan of Jericho. Because if you don't take the full yoke of Torah upon yourself that the Lord commanded the children of Israel through Moses, then you won't even survive Israel, even though it's been given to you. And where does Moses allude to this in Deuteronomy? Verse 5. And on that side of the Jordan in the land of Moab, Moses commenced and explained this law. What law? Well, the Torah, of course. Verse 6, the Lord our God spoke to us in Chorev, saying, you have dwelt long enough at this mountain. Hashem Eloheinu diber elenu bechorev le'emor rav lachem shevet bahar hazeh. What happened? What happened at Chorev? When you think of Chorev, what do you think of? Where we received the Torah. It's Mount Sinai, okay? This was the mountain of God. It was a holy mountain, and Moses was the only one who was allowed to ascend to the cleft of the rock. Later on, Elijah went to the very same spot. But the children of Israel were just sitting at the foot of the mountain and all around it. And God said, Rav lachem shevet behar hazeh, you have dwelt long enough at this mountain. Now, why would God send away his children from his holy mountain, where they were just basking in the holiness, where they were all levels of prophets living in the Spirit, as many out there like to say. I'll tell you why. It's because he loved them. That's why he sent them away. In fact, basking in the Spirit and living in the Spirit literally is the opposite of the point of everything. And don't worry, the proof is in the very next verse. Turn and journey. Penu useu lachem. Look what it says. It's a terrible translation. And come to the mountain of the Amorites, and to all its neighboring places in the plain, on the mountain, and the lowland, and in the south, and by the seashore, and the land of the Canaanites, and Lebanon, until the great river, the Euphrates River. Okay, so first of all, the Euphrates River is in the opposite direction. But in any case, it says, come to where I am, because where am I? I am here, but I'm also there. Boil paro, right? Same concept. But that's not what we're focusing on. Penu, first word, turn. Where does one turn to? Turn in the opposite direction from where you are looking at. Useu, and go and journey, because you need to put all this spirit, but it's actually Torah that you got, to good use. Nay, it's only use. Lachem, for me, for who? For you. Lech lecha, right? Me'artzecha, go for your sake. Shelach lecha, send for your sake. Seu, journey, lachem, for you, plural, go for your sakes. You see, many people out there have it twisted. You think that you receive the Spirit, and as a result, you gain an understanding of Torah. No, it doesn't work that way. It's because you toil in Torah that you receive the Spirit and then gain the understanding of all things. It doesn't necessarily come on you like, oh, I know the secrets of the cosmos. It has nothing to do with anything, okay? You're not going to, anyway, it's different. Anyway, okay, so now granted, the generation of the wilderness, they did toil in Torah. But the way in which it was given to them had never been done before or ever since, right? The Torah was given to them literally with a bang. They received a download, but then they still had to learn it, right? That which they did not learn. But what was the download? The download was a glimpse into the cosmos, but they didn't get any Torah revelations. But it was only once that they received it, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will hear and we will do, did they receive the benefits thereof. And yet, still, I have to correct myself, because I know what many are still thinking, so let me set the record straight. The benefits of the Torah are not the Spirit, not prophecy, not abundance, not even the land of Israel. There have been many, many Torah giants throughout the ages who have not received prophecy, were dirt poor, and never even set foot in the land of Israel, although that was their entire life's desire. The benefit of Torah is Torah itself. Everything beyond that just is. How so? We've touched on this before. We're going to touch on it again. Pirkei Avot, Ethics of the Fathers 4:1. Who is wise? He who learns from every man. As it is said, from all who taught me have I gained understanding. Psalms 119:99. Now this means that you learn what to do from the good ones and what not to do from the bad ones. Each man according to his strengths, right? You could learn from anyone. You see, I don't want to live like that person. That person doesn't necessarily have to have a conversation with you. See what they're doing and how they're living. Say, okay, that's a great, way of, crack is whack, right? Don't do crack, and so on. So each man according to his own strengths. And if you are a good student, meaning remain silent and observe, but also stand when the time calls for it, you will see who is for real and who is a complete joke based on their own actions. And once you have this awareness, this is important now, so listen up. Once you have this awareness, which is external, chokhmah, you then attain a consciousness, which is internal, binah, of understanding, which then by default gives you knowledge, dat, in the aspect of who you are, where you are, what you are supposed to do, and how you are supposed to do it. Right? Chokhmah, Bina, Vadat. That's up there as far as you're concerned. Not to mention who you stand before. We will get back to this later. Who is mighty? Thor? He who subdues his evil inclination. As it is said, he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, right? And he that rules his spirit than he that takes a city. Proverbs 16:3. This was directly referenced to Judah when he approached Joseph. He could have completely destroyed all of Egypt, but he came to him quietly because he knew he could have done it, but he didn't. The evil inclination is what was subdued. The evil inclination that each and every one of us possess is equally as powerful as our ability to fight against it. Meaning that you are no stronger than it, but it is no stronger than you. It's like going to a boxing match, right? Both fighters are the same age, the same height, the same weight, they have the same reach. Everything is essentially equal. The only difference is the evil inclination has millions, if not billions, of TKOs. It's got experience, but what are you? You're Rocky. You have the will. You got the eye of the tiger, baby. You don't give up. And yet, you are still considered a competition for him and all his TKOs. And let me tell you this. Every single time you do something good, you just counted another TKO. Every time you don't do something bad, you just got another one. Every time you smile. And as a result, a person's day just got better, you got another one. Every time you thank God for anything, TKO. Continue like this, and before you know it, you become a heavyweight champion. But as you grow, so does your evil inclination. It's always right there with you. It's always a fair fight. This is one of the many reasons Moses was so incredible. Think about how high he was. His evil inclination exceeded that of any other man. And because of the fact that he battled it and won every single time, that's why he rose. He knocked that thing on its unholy butt time and time again. He was undisputed. You see, it's easy to smash, but it's hard not to when you get angry. And it's even harder when you actually are justified. So, who is mighty? You, my friend. You are mighty. Who is rich? The next one. Who doesn't want to be rich, right? Once upon a time, that's what I was all about, being rich, living the life. Again, I'll share with you very, very soon, okay? So don't worry about that. But what I found that the more you pursue money, the more it's going to run from you. While the more you pursue Torah, the more it's going to run to you. Do we consider richness or wealth to be physical possessions? Can you take anything with you after you die? So, who is rich? He who rejoices in his lot. As it is said, you shall enjoy the fruit of your labors, emphasis on labors. You shall be happy, and you shall prosper. Psalms 128:2. You shall be happy in this world, and you shall prosper in the world to come. Why do we rejoice in our lot, whatever that lot may be? Because we know for a fact that every shekel that we have is directly from God. Nothing more, nothing less. And so we thank God for giving us exactly how much we need in order to break what needs to be broken. We discussed this many times before regarding how rich and wealthy the patriarchs were. Abraham was the wealthiest man in the world at the time. Isaac even more so than him. And then Jacob, who started from nothing since he fled to Laban, he became wealthier than both of them many times over. Did they care about the money? Was that their sole purpose? You do, God provides. Because it's only when you labor with the right intent while following God's Torah that you shall enjoy the fruit of your labors. You shall be happy and you shall prosper, whatever your lot may be. Next, who is he that is honored? Oh, we love this one, don't we? We need this one, don't we? We need people's approval. We want their respect, and we want to be recognized. We want to be heard in our own way, and each person will get their time. But when that time comes, what will be said? Something wise or something foolish? What will be done? Something constructive or something destructive? So, who is he that is honored? He who honors his fellow human beings, as it is said, "For I honor those that honor me, but those who spurn me shall be dishonored." 1 Samuel 2:30. And who is the one who is to do the dishonoring? Us? You better hope you haven't been selected to do such a thing, because that means that you got something coming your way and it's not good. God is the only one who will be doing the dishonoring, who should be doing the dishonoring, while we must concern ourselves with honoring him. How do we honor God? Aside from following his commandments, of course, by honoring those who honor him. You see what I'm saying? So look who you choose to follow. Look who you choose to take advice from. It's not just the words that they say, it's also the kind of people that they are. Investigate. Now, you might be thinking right now of great sages or great leaders, right? Oh, well, those are probably the people I should be following or listening to or honoring. But let me tell you, that's the pshat, the simple, the obvious. Deuteronomy 10. He executes the judgment of the orphan and the widow, and he loves the stranger to give him bread and clothing. I gotta say this in Hebrew because it ain't a stranger no more. עושה משפט יתום ואלמנה ואוהב גר לתת לו לחם ושמלה. You shall love the ger, for you were gerim be'eretz Mitzrayim, in the land of Egypt. This refers to gerei tzedek, okay? These are people who converted in, who left their lives behind, who have a higher standing than tzaddikim who were born in Israel. The Rambam, Maimonides, says, I'll read this in Hebrew and I'll translate, Da shechova shechiyavtanu haTorah al hagerim gdolahi. Know that the Torah commanded us that loving the ger is a great command. Al ha'av ve'al ha'em nitztavenu bechavod umorah. For the father and for the mother we were commanded to honor and fear. Ve'al ha'nevim lishmoa lahem. And for the prophets to hear them, to listen to them. Ve'efshar sheyechabed adam ve'yireh ve'yishma mimi she'eino ohev. And we are even commanded to respect, fear, and listen to those who we do not love. Ve'al hagerim tzuvenu be'ahava rabba hamesura lalev. Do you understand that? For the ger we were called with great devotion of the heart. Ve'ahavtem et hager, to love them. Just as we say in the Shema, Ve'ahavta et Hashem Elohecha, and you shall love the Lord God, the Lord your God, and you shall love the ger. Same kind of devotion. Those are people you can trust. Those are people you can look up to, because those are people that have been through hell by choice. These 4 pillars from the ethics of the fathers are the foundation of the Torah. I'm not saying trust every ger blindly. Gerim are people too, okay? You understand what I'm saying? If a person goes through something like that, listen, they might got something to say. So these 4 pillars of the ethics of the fathers are the foundation of the Torah. The mitzvot and the halachot are embedded within them. This is what Moses is imparting to the children of Israel. Who is wise? He who learns from every man. Did Moses not listen to his father-in-law Yitro when he said that even he, the great Moses, could not do this alone? He says, dude, you're crumbling. Okay. And verse 9, and I said to you at that time, saying, I cannot carry you alone. You got to carry yourselves. In fact, you don't need me to carry you, because if you do what I say, guess what? You'll be like me. I can lead you, I can guide you, I can point you in the right direction. He was the faithful shepherd after all. He fought for them, he interceded for them, but he didn't carry them. But even a faithful shepherd can't carry every single sheep, right? 1 person, 2 people, 5. How are you going to carry millions of people, or at least 600,000 core, how should we say, the foundation over there? And besides, we weren't raised to be sheep. We weren't groomed to be sheep. Yes, we are supposed to follow, but that's for the sake of learning how to lead. You want to be a sheep all your life? Keep your head down and do what you're told? Never question authority, even if something seems extremely unkosher or ridiculous? Even if it means that you have to compromise your morals or ethics, or, whatever it says in whatever book you might be reading. What? Because fake rabbi said so? We are sheep to the right shepherd, and we are called to be lions to everyone else. That's why you always have to know your place, who you are, where you stand, and who is around you. We're almost there. Why did Moses say that he could not carry them? Why is no one supposed to carry you? Because, verse 10, the Lord, your God, has multiplied you, and behold, you are today as the stars of the heavens in abundance. Hashem Elohechem hirba etchem vehinchem hayom kekochavei hashamayim larov. This is wonderful stuff here. This is a great secret that is being shared right now. Okay? This goes all the way back to the creation itself. First of all, this verse makes no sense. Why? Did they multiply in abundance? We counted them, what was it, last week or a couple of weeks ago? There were 18,200 less than what left, right? Where is the multiplication in abundance? Where, what? They're all pretty much the same number. So, if you're just joining us now, hello, again, I keep doing this, but even if you're not just joining us, a refresher is always good. To make it easier, we've learned that Moses was likened to the sun, Joshua was likened to the moon. The word Rav, okay, as in Erev Rav, can also be read as mighty, mixed multitude, but also mighty multitude. Also, Erev is evening, a mighty evening, where the creepy crawlers come out. We know that there is a celestial and terrestrial earth, Jerusalem, court, yeshiva, temple, and so on. Okay? Now that we know this, and the stars. And the stars are more than just a specific measure to which the descendants of Abraham, but more specifically the children of Israel, would be numbered by. Could be numbered by. Now open those ears and listen, and open those eyes and see what's right in front of you. I'm going to bring this together so you can see it too. Genesis 1, verse 14. And God said, let there be luminaries in the expanse of the heavens to separate between the day and between the night. And they shall be for signs and for appointed seasons and for days and years. Did I say Abraham? I'm sorry. Genesis 1:14. And they shall be for luminaries in the expanse of the heavens to what? Shed light upon the earth. And it was so. Oh, and it was so. It was so over there. We'll see that. והיו למאורות ברקיע השמיים להאיר על הארץ ויהי כן. And God made the two great luminaries, the great luminary to rule the day and the lesser luminary to rule the night, and the stars. These already happened, and yet later on he made them, and then later on he made them again. Now we get to Abraham. Genesis 15:4. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him, saying, this one will not inherit you, but the one who will spring from your innards, he will inherit you. And he took him outside and he said, please look heavenward and count the stars. Now, again, we've actually covered this. Habet na hashamayim ma. Once you say hashamayim, then histakel lemala, look up at the heavens. But hashamayim ma, Abraham was actually taken outside and he was shown the heavens from above the heavens. He was looking down at the heavens. Then he says, and count the stars if you are able to count them. Okay, count them. So now if we see where the children of Israel are, like I said, you are now like the stars of the sky because you have multiplied so much, but they haven't multiplied. So will be your seed. What? How will be my seed? As numerous as the stars that I can't count? Or the stars themselves? And he believed the Lord, and it accounted to him as righteousness. Genesis 37. And he again dreamed another dream. This is Joseph. And he related it to his brothers, and he said, behold, I have dreamed another dream, and behold, the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars were prostrating themselves to me. Now Jacob, as in the father of Israel, right? The father of the children of Israel. And he told it to his father and his brothers, and his father rebuked him and said to him, what is this that you have dreamed? Will we, I, your mother, and your brothers prostrate ourselves to you to the ground? So his brothers envied him, but his father kept the matter. Shamarta davar. Okay, very interesting. Numbers 24:17. I see it. Here's Balaam. I see it, but not now. I behold it, but not soon. A star has gone forth from Jacob, and a staff will arise from Israel, which will crush the princes of Moab and uproot all the sons of Seth of the world. Job 38. When the morning stars sing together, and all the angels of God shout. It says, Vayariu. Yariu is like a battle cry. Ah! Not in an angry way, but okay, powerful. Do we see it yet? Please allow me to illuminate. Why can Moses not carry the children of Israel? Because he is not supposed to carry the children of Israel. The children of Israel are fully capable of carrying themselves. And they shall be for luminaries in the expanse of the heavens to shed light upon the Aretz. Celestial, terrestrial Aretz. Please look heavenward and count the stars. So will be your seed like the stars. And 11 stars were prostrating themselves to me, said Joseph. And your brothers prostrate ourselves to you, said Jacob, who knew exactly who his children were to be, but he kept the matter hidden, but we figured it out. What did he know? What did he see? A star has gone forth from Jacob. In the end of days, Messiah will come. And then, when the morning stars sing together, the angels of God will shout. The point is, the children of Israel who left Egypt are the secret of the hidden mercies, chasadim, as in the attributes of. Also, we know that Abraham became the manifestation of mercy, of chesed. Now, Rav Ali says, Mishalshat deyovela mamash, literally from the root of the Yovel, the Jubilee. And these are the heavenly luminaries. And the number that is spoken of in the verse 10, the Lord your God has multiplied you, and behold, you are today as the stars of the heavens in abundance. Larov, right? Kekochavei hashamayim, larov, rav, right? Erev rav, mixed multitude, a lot. Yes, it could be read multitude. It could be read mighty, but it also says the word rav, as in rabbi, as in teacher of the law. There's no punctuation in the Torah, and so from the hints of the possibilities, we can understand that the children of Israel have been elevated even more than the stars. If they left Egypt, they were likened to the stars, and now what? What's next? You see, it's not a number. It's a status. Midrash Rabbah says that indeed today you are like the stars, but in the future you will be like your Rav. Who's their Rav? It's Moses. Who is higher than the stars? Moses is. Who commands the stars? Moses does. Who is above the angels? Moses. Come on. He bested them all to receive the Torah. Isaiah 10:17, and the light of Israel shall become fire, and his Holy One shall become a flame, and it shall consume his thorns and his worms in one day. So too will be the children of Israel in the time to come. Today you are the stars, but in the future you will ascend even beyond. Beyond who? Beyond Malachei Hasharet, the mighty archangels above them. Now, there's a hint of this, by the way, in, where was it? Parashat Va'era. With Abraham, where he was sitting underneath the tree, and then the angels came, and he fed them, and he was standing above them underneath the tree. The tree is a symbol of the throne of God, where you have Abraham standing above 3 out of the 4 archangels, okay? I discussed that in that video. Anyway, what's it called? I forgot what it's called, the teaching, but it's Parashat Va'era, back in Genesis. Okay. Now, you must understand, your nefesh, which is the lowest form of your link to God, we'll call it the soul, okay? Your nefesh, which is nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida. Nefesh is the life source, right? Nefesh, God breathed his breath, and man became nefesh chaya. So it also says the life is in the blood, right? The nefesh, right? And then you have the ruach, which is the spirit. Neshama is the best translated as the soul, which is barely here. Then you have the chaya, which is life, and yechida, which is singularity, but also ichud, joined together. Your nefesh is currently, right now, your nefesh is on a higher level than the archangels. Right now. You, me, them, everybody. Why? Because God gave this to you directly. How could this be? The only thing that separates us from knowing this and obviously living accordingly is this meat bag right here. That's it, the physical body. So the material is what keeps this hidden from us. Again, the lowest form of the neshama is higher than the archangels. But even in this world, great tzaddikim managed to separate from the material, thereby elevating them past the heavenly hosts. See the patriarchs, Abraham standing over the angels, Jacob wrestling with the angels, with the angel. Anyway, Moses was most obvious, bested all of them, but so many other biblical figures managed to elevate to that status, not necessarily remain there their entire lives, but when you go up there, you go up there. You see things, you experience things. This is also hinted to us in Daniel 3:25, when Nebuchadnezzar threw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into the fiery furnace. He called out and said, "Behold, I see 4 free men walking in the midst of the fire, and there is no wound upon them, and the form of the 4th is like Bar Elohim, the Son of God," right? The Bar Elohim, now again, Bar, in Aramaic is son, Elohim is God. Now don't get excited. Again, we already know sons of God are the angels. This is written in Genesis. This is written in Job. Don't start with me. So again, at this point, the children of Israel are the stars. Okay? Meaning that their celestial counterparts are the stars, while they are, down here, Israel. Because, and just like Moses and Joshua, the sun, the moon, because they are who they are, they give light unto the earth. Eretz, Aretz, both celestial and terrestrial. And where is the promise of the ascension? The next verse. May the Lord, God of your forefathers, add to you 1,000-fold as many as you are, and may he bless you as he spoke concerning you. Now, the English does translate this as written, but not exactly. So we'll work on that. Hashem Elohei Avotechem, Yosef Aleichem. May the Lord, God of your forefathers, add to you, increase. Yosef means lehosif, to add, to increase. But then it says, kachem elef pa'amim. What is kachem? It doesn't translate it here at all. Kachem is as you currently are. Now this is not even mentioned, like I said, in English, but not only in your current number, but rather in your current state. Elef pa'amim, 1,000 times. Vayivarech etchem, and he will bless you, ka'asher diber lachem, as he spoke of you, or to you. So it's important to understand something over here. We have two different blessings in the same verse, if you've noticed. The first one comes from Moses. May the Lord, the God of your forefathers, add to you, increase, not the person, the word, the action. Joseph, right? Which is why Joseph, by the way, was also called the increase, because God gave him an increase, because he got an additional son. And what more can Moses give them or bless them with than that which they already possess? You see what I'm saying? You can't bless them with more. They have the Torah. They have the greatest gift that God had imparted to the world through Israel. So what? Increase to 1,000 Torahs? That's not how it works. It's not necessarily, sometimes it's about money, or not money, counting, and sometimes it's about might in this case, right? So, is it 1,000 Torahs? No. But rather multiply what? By 1,000 generations. How do we get this? Now the second blessing comes from God, and may he bless you as he spoke concerning you. So Moses gives the first one, and then he reminds them of the blessing that God gave them. And what did God speak concerning us? We can see the answer and connection to both these blessings in this verse, Psalms 105. Start with verse 8. He remembered his covenant forever, the word he had commanded to the 1,000th generation, which he had made with Abraham, and his oath to Isaac. And he set it up to Jacob as a statute, to Israel as an everlasting covenant, saying, to you I shall give the land of Canaan, the portion of your heritage. And so the children of Israel have received the Elif, right? Elif. Elif is 1,000 for 1,000 generations, as well as the Aleph, which signifies God. To spell out the letter Aleph, it's Aleph and Elif. It's the same thing. 1,000 and Aleph is spelled the same way. Just how you pronounce it. A or E. Okay. But in fact, the Aleph of the Elif generations that they received is taken from the Aleph of Eheye Asher Eheye. Exodus 3:13, and Moses said to God, behold, I come to the children of Israel, and I say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you. And they say to me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? And God said to Moses, Eheye Asher Eheye, I will be what I will be. And he said, so shall you say to the children of Israel, Eheyeh, I will be, has sent me to you. And why does God tell us right there that I will be has sent Moses to you? Because God will be to us whatever we will be to him. Which is why he included the Aleph of Eheyeh right here in the blessing of the 1,000 generations. Does your Bible say, I am who I am? That would be a gross mistranslation. Anyway. So not only would there be an increase in greatness, but an increase in the time of the greatness as well. Since we know that time is temporary, we can simply understand from this that these blessings are for this world as well as the next. And so here we are once again in the land of Israel today, and much correction is to be made, and it is being made, and it will be made. And now God is breaking the fabric of the community apart because of all these shenanigans, right? The Jewish community, you can't go to synagogue together. You have to pray outside no more than 20 people at a time. Although I really like praying outside. It's under the sky. It's so beautiful. Anyway, so the core of Israel, who are likened to the stars, were around 600,000 as we counted. The Hebrew term is shishim ribo, which was equal to Moses. And so 600,000 pieces of 600,000 of the souls who received the Torah on Mount Sinai will exist in every single generation for 1,000 generations until the very end. Now, these souls were created way before the giving of the Torah, as the Torah was here before creation, and the souls of Israel are and have always been part of God. And he wants them back. 1,000 generations for the Shishim Ribo could very well be the completion of the 6,000 year mark, which we are very much looking forward to. That makes sense, doesn't it? We are in the last days, and we are the last generation. Who are the 600,000 core of Israel? That we're going to find out. But don't worry, whoever is supposed to be there will be there. It could also mean that 600,000 will be multiplied by 1,000 in addition to the increase in greatness and time span, which would mean there are 600 million Jews in the world today. And I tell you what, I believe that the seed of Israel is somewhere in that vicinity. We're talking Jews, assimilated Jews, people that don't even know that they're Jews, as well as the lost tribes who don't even know that their soul belongs to Israel. Now look what's coming, because the placing of this verse would seem very peculiar. So let's read them together, the verses we just read now, so we see how potentially strange it might be, and then we'll work it out. So verse 9, and I said to you at that time, saying, I cannot carry you alone. The Lord your God has multiplied you, and behold, you are today the stars of the heavens in abundance. May the Lord God of your forefathers add to you 1,000-fold as many as you are, and may he bless you as he spoke concerning you. How can I bear your trouble, your burden, and your strife all by myself? What? See, it's like 10 and 11, we're just stuck in there. Let's read 9 and 12. And I said to you at the time, saying, I cannot carry you alone. How can I bear your trouble, your burden, and your strife all by myself? Because 10:11 answers this. You see this, right? It's like it's almost wedged in between. Although they are very similar, it's almost redundant, right? Talking about 9 and 12. But after everything we've just learned right now, they better be clear, otherwise that's on me. So, verse 12. How can I bear your trouble, your burden, and your strife all by myself? Hebrew says, Eicha esa levadi tarchechem masachem verivechem. Your trouble, your burden, and your strife. And what is hidden behind these words? These are representing the three minds, the three mochin of man, also known as Chokhmah, Bina, Vadat, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. Ding, dang, dang. Yeah, there we go. Also known as Chabad. So, how do we come to this conclusion? If you read the very next verse in Hebrew, of course, and if you know what you're looking for, it's staring right at you. Prepare for yourselves wise and understanding men known among your tribes, and I will make them heads for you. Havu lachem anashim chachamim nevonim veyodim, chochma bina v'dat, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. Leshivtechem v'asimam beroshchem. Now these men who were chosen to have the power and the authority of Moses, that Moses possesses, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, leshivtechem, of your tribes. Remember, this is not only what was done in the past, we're talking prophecy, but what will be done in the future 1,000-fold on a much greater scale. Can you imagine? I can't. Yes. So, again, I don't speak of the past. I speak of the future. Vasimam beroshchem, and I will place them at your head. Who will? Who will? Who's speaking here? This is not God, this is Moses. God will not choose these individuals. Moses will do so when he finds those who have his attributes, his wisdom, his understanding, and his knowledge, or at least the capacity and the ability to retain those, which apparently, by what he's saying, is all of Israel right here. We all have this ability, and we all will have this ability. And make no mistake, just like there were those back then, so will be today many, many more. Now the word va'asimam, I will place them. If you remove the yud, which is from the yud k vav k, which is God, that's right in the center of the word, meaning that if you remove God from the judgments that they are called to carry out, then umasachem, your burdens, masa, your burden will become your asham. You just read it in reverse. It will become your fault. I'm just talking a lot, that's all. Meaning, faulty judgments will be your fault on your head, and you don't want that. So when these men were given the titles and responsibilities based on their attributes, they became eheye. What? Exodus 4:12. So now go. I'll read in Hebrew. V'atalech, he said to Moses. V'anochi eheye im picha. I will be with your mouth. V'horaticha shel tadaber, and I will instruct you what you shall speak. If you have these three, if you toil, don't worry, the words that come out of your mouth, that's not even you speaking anymore. And what do we say when Moses bestows this honor, privilege, and high responsibility on our heads? Well, what did they say? Verse 14, and you answered me and said, this thing you have spoken is good for us to do. V'ta'anu oti v'tomu hatov hadavar asher dibarta la'asot. La'asot, to do? Is that necessary? Why? Of course it is. Because they knew, as we hopefully now know, that everything that we do is for the purpose of what? What's this all about? What's everything about? Tikkun, rectification, every mitzvah, every single judgment, every gift, and every punishment. It all serves the same purpose, to correct that which has been broken. And I'm going to show you something else regarding Eretz, right? Celestial, terrestrial, earth or land. Bereshit, bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. At first God created the heavens and the earth. Was everything that God created not perfectly perfect, though it be perfectly flawed? Verse 1 is what we are rectifying. This is where we want to go back to, because that's where we are headed. This is what we're looking for. And it was only after Adam sinned that now the earth was astonishingly empty, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the water. Friends, we have been tasked with fixing the tohu vavohu, okay? With the chaos. Look outside. It's all Erev Rav, right? It's all chaotic. This is because it is astonishingly empty. Empty of what? Ruach Elohim, the Spirit of God. It is lifting from the world, from all across the world, as barbarism is going to continue and increase. And its only place and source where this remaining spirit will be concentrated in is where? Here, Jerusalem. You don't want God's Spirit completely leaving the earth, but this is where it pours down from, and then from here it goes out to the earth. That's why when the temple was built, the earth was near paradise. So it only makes sense that the more chaos you see around the world, you know that the Spirit of God is leaving, and it's coming right back here. And this can be the only place in the world that will have that Spirit. Because God's never, ever, ever leaving his people and his land, because this is God's land. And our name's on the title deed. He's the landlord. Yeah. So now here we come full circle. Because once you have this awareness, external, chokhmah, then you attain a consciousness, internal binah, of understanding, which then by default gives you knowledge, da'at, in the aspect of who you are, where you are, what you are supposed to do, and how you are supposed to do it. You need to know where you are in order to know what you have to do, what you have to fix, and how you have to fix. It was up to them to continue what Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob began. Right? And it's up to us to complete their effort. Just like it was their job to follow through on what their fathers did. They perished in the desert. They're continuing. They're doing a tikkun for their fathers. They're entering and possessing the land. We must do the same. We are both the generation that was taken out of Egypt and the generation that has entered into the land. The heavens are set. Everything is ready. It's just waiting for us. The mightiest armies have been destroyed and the giants have been slain. After he had smitten Sichon, king of the Amorites, who dwelled in Heshbon, and Og, the king of Bashan. These were the two largest giants in the world at the time. Done. All the 31 Amorite kings in Israel, they didn't have kingdoms, they had cities. Conquered 31 cities. Not that it was no small feat that Joshua did, but Sichon and Og, that's it, dude. Take out two Empire State Building looking dudes and their armies. The heavy lifting has already been done. The Torah has been gifted to us. Covenants have been made with us. Promises have been given for us. Listen to the man when he speaks to each of us the words and promises of God. See, I have set the land before you. Come and possess the land which the Lord swore to your forefathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them and their descendants after them. If you receive it, then go and possess it. When you already have everything you need, all that's left to do, say it with me, is follow through. Okay, that was fun. We are now in the 9 days, friends, from Rosh Chodesh Av leading up to the 9th, which is the day that needs the most rectification of all. Things are going to heat up, so expect resistance. Deal with it accordingly. We deal with it like the children of Israel. This is why we are here. So thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of the week and stay safe. Have a Shabbat Shalom. Bye-bye.